Hey guys, welcome. We are about to embark on a new series called Relationship Status. I'm going to talk about three different stages or three different statuses. That's the correct word. And the one status that I'm going to focus on today is the one that's called complicated. So I've seen on social media that if you're in a relationship, then obviously your status will show relationship. If you're married, it's married, divorced or whatever, then your status will say divorce. But then many times I've wondered about this one status that says complicated. I don't really know what that means. When people say complicated, and I think for every person it's a different, once again, meaning. What is complicated? And so I find that as I spoke to people that find themselves in either were in a complicated, had that as their status, that many times it's people that were or are in a relationship, but the relationship is in a complex stage of its relationship. And I often wonder, how do we get to that space where relationship status becomes complicated? When you met that person, they were all you could think about, dream about. When you got up in the morning and you got dressed, you were thinking like, what will they enjoy? And you spend a lot of time together, and they enjoyed their company and going out with them and doing things with them. And you enjoyed certain things about them in terms of they were driven and they're beautiful and they all of that. But how do you get from that, where you enjoyed every part of them and you enjoyed doing things with them, to a place where things are now complicated? How do you get to that stage in your relationship where things are complicated and are they not beautiful anymore? Do you not enjoy the company anymore? What is it that's making your relationship to be complicated? And that's the question I want to put out there for a second. How did you get to this space of complicated? Do you love them but not as much anymore? Or you love them but there's a bunch of stuff that they do that's putting you off about them? Or you like them but you just don't love them? Or they're not all that you thought they were? And now you've got mixed emotions. Is it that is it things they do that's putting you off? Is it things you're doing or things they're not doing? How do you get to that space where things are now complicated? And only you will know how you got there. If you got to go back and just start to write down, where did things start going wrong? And what is it that person or you want out of the relationship that you're not getting, that's putting you into the status of complicated? I think many times you have to ask you the question, what do you want out of a relationship? That's a complex question many times. Because I want I want the person to love me, and they must make me laugh, and we must connect emotionally, and great, but those are just fruit of something much deeper. Those are not the roots of a relationship. So we are looking for fruit, but what is the root of a relationship that will give you those things that you want out of a relationship? But let's just get back to that question. What is it that you want out of a relationship? Is it merely physical things? Because then physical it will always only be. Is it friendship? Great. But that's probably what it always will only be. A relationship can't just be friends. That's the worst status ever to ever have. If you love someone, they just say, oh no, you're the best friend ever. You're like, oh yeah, now. There goes the romantic idea. What is it that you want out of a relationship? Because if you don't have a clear idea of what it is that you want out of a relationship, then it's quickly gonna get to a space of complicated, because you don't really know what it is that you want, and probably neither do they. Or maybe you've got these clear ideas, but you started slowly but surely giving in on those ideas of what it is that you want. And you start to go for compromise and say, yeah, I'll never find a guy or a girl with these values in life. So you slowly but surely started disintegrate those values. You brought them down. You gave in on them. And just to get to a space where you can just meet someone because you may be desperate for love or desperate for that person in your life that you can love. But by being that desperate, you're busy giving in on your values, and that's never a good thing. The moment when you give in on your values to get someone or to please someone, then you started your whole relationship on a very fragmented and a very fragile foundation. It's bound to fall apart. There is a thing of give and take. That's when you reach a very serious stage of your relationship where things are going to, it's time to get engaged and then married. Then we talk about give and take. But right now, when you're in a space where you're single and you want to meet someone, then you've got to ask yourself, what type of person do you want to be married to? What type of person you want to be in a relationship with? And what's the values they must have in their life that will complement the values you have in your life? Many times, if I have to ask you, what are your values? Have you ever written them down? Are you even looking for someone that has the same values that you have? These are all things, that's factors that contribute to the status that you find yourself in if you're in a space of it's complicated. And here's a scripture that I want to read for you. In Matthew 15:18 it says, "But the words you speak comes from the heart. That's what defiles you." The things you speak are truly the things that you want. The jokes you make. Just listen to yourself when you speak sometimes. Record yourself. You'll realize when you speak about relationships, the things you joke about are the things that you want in a relationship, good or bad. If it's physical jokes, that's probably where your mind is at right now in life. If it's jawing, if it's whatever, that's where you're at. So listen to what you say. And even when you think, if you met that person and you think this might be the right person, listen to the jokes they make. Listen to the things they say. And that will tell you if that person shares the same values and stuff that you want, that will complement you or not. That's the easiest way to say it. Because you don't know what's going on in people's hearts. Only if you really listen to the jokes and the things they constantly talk about, then you know where their mind is at. And if they're serious about a serious relationship, or are they in a space in their life where they just want to jaw, have fun, meet people, have things comfortable, have things relaxed, then it doesn't help you that want to go into a serious relationship with someone that's in a space of just relaxing and going with the flow, want to take things casual. What is casual for that person and what's casual for you might be two different types of things. And there already you might give in your values because you like this person so much that you just want to be with them, so you'll take it casual as well. But the only thing you're doing is you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're only setting yourself up for disaster, pain. That's what you're busy doing. I'm going to talk about this thing, saying my status is complicated. How did you get yourself there? This whole thing from the beginning built on the wrong perspectives, wrong foundation. Was it maybe from the beginning, from the get-go, it was just disaster in terms of you giving in on your values? and hoping that someday that person will start to change and their values will become your values will become their values. That rarely ever happened. Ever happened. Did you hope that it started all physical, but hopefully it will change? It won't. It won't. The only way it will change is if that person meets Jesus and gives their lives to God. And the question, if you are a child of God and you are in a relationship with someone that's not a child of God, I want to say to you now, it's probably best for you to get out now. Because their values will never be your values. They'll never understand your values. They'll never respect your values. Slowly but surely you'll find yourself giving in on the things that's important to you just to keep them happy. And it's all about them, and they never give it back to you. A relationship is much more than just physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual, of all else, everything else, it is spiritual. It's a spiritual thing. God made Adam and Eve. He made us to be in relationship. It comes from God. And if it's not built on God's values, it will not last. And in 1 Corinthians 13 verse 4 to 7, it says, love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful, proud or rude. Love does not demand its own way. Love is not irritable, and it keeps no record of when it was being wronged. It is never glad about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith. It's always hopeful and endures through every circumstance. And so next week we're going to talk about relationship and God's view about relationship, and what's the foundation that you need to build your relationship on to make sure it will last forever and will go into a place of a happy marriage, and what's the struggles and the fights that can occur in a relationship, or the things you need to face or ask in a relationship before you take it to the next level of getting engaged. But today I want to leave this with you. How did you get to a space of it is complicated? Go write it down and ask yourself, maybe, just maybe, it's complicated because you gave in on the values, or you never really built this whole relationship on values, godly values, and that's why it's finding itself in a stage of it's complicated. Or maybe all you ever wanted was physical things, or he only wanted physical things. And right now you're finding your space where it's complicated. Why? Because it was always just a physical thing. It was never emotional. It was never actually a relationship. It was just two people pleasing one another. Those are some hard questions. But if you are serious about yourself, if you are serious about the relationship, these are questions you've got to ask. If you want to go into a space where your relationship is happy and fulfilled for both of you, a fulfillment from both sides, got to ask the hard questions. And maybe it's time to get out of that relationship if you really want to be whole. But go review those things and let's talk about it. Please comment, send me a message inbox. Maybe you've got questions, please ask them. I'll really love to have a chat with you and send you some more scriptures and support you in where you're at in life right now. But don't stay in this space of complex. It will kill you. It will kill you. God bless you, and let's journey this thing together. Cheers.